It's Tuesday the 4th of February in the Vendée Globe, the skipper's 86th day at sea, and we've had more finishers overnight. And so you can see footage and the details from Isabelle Joschke, the legendary Jean Le Cam and the Kiwi Conrad Colman as they crossed the line. And then we have an update from Giancarlo Pedote as on his final approach into Les Sables. We then take a look at the tracker, the leaderboard, just looking at those finishers when they came in, and then get updates from Kojiro Shiraishi and Jingkun, who are making their way up the Atlantic towards the finish. And then where else to finish today, but with an update, the last one from on board the boat from Conrad Colman. The Franco-German skipper Isabelle Joschke was the first of the overnight finishers at 23:28 UTC on 3rd of February, finishing in 19th place after 85 days, 11 hours and 26 minutes of racing. This is her first completed Vendée Globe. She took part 4 years ago but had a keel failure, which forced her to retire after she had rounded Cape Horn. This time she did have her issues, including a clean break of the starboard foil in the Pacific Ocean, but she showed incredible tenacity to come through all of the various problems. Legendary French ocean racing veteran Jean Le Cam was the next to finish in 20th place at 03:53 UTC on Tuesday morning. This is his 5th successful Vendée Globe. It was back in 2004 that he finished second in the Vendée Globe to Vincent Riou. He has made some audacious choices along the route, where he went, for example, to the east of the Cape Verde Islands as they headed down the North Atlantic towards the beginning of the race, and he had a brand new daggerboard boat made for this edition of the race when many were going for foilers. And he's still, though, a massive fan of the new foiling boats, and he said, "My dream would be to go for a ride with Charlie Darlin on his foiling boat." It is easy to forget that he is 65 years old, and so when his J2 stay broke and he had to go up the mast twice to fix it, his legend will have only grown with this edition. The charismatic Kiwi Conrad Colman finished in 21st place at 04:06 UTC on Tuesday morning, taking 21st place in an elapsed time of 85 days, 16 hours and 4 minutes. He was just 13 minutes behind Jean Le Cam. This is the second time he has finished the Vendée Globe, but the first time when he's had the mast up. In the 2016-17 edition, he was dismasted just 700 miles from the finish, but finished under jury rig. During the race, he has picked up a legion of fans with his fantastic video updates from on board the boat, where he's told us about life on board, taken a dive underneath to check the keel, and also just shown us what some of the manoeuvres take on board an IMOCA yacht. And this, I have no doubt whatsoever that we're going to see far more from him in the future. He is a media star in the making.
Sunrise in Biscay Bay, and we feel the smell of the Sea of House. So it's nice to approach gently Les Sables with this beautiful condition. So also I feel inside myself a big emotion to come back. I want to see again my family.
On the tracker at the time of recording, we can see Giancarlo Pedote making his final tack in towards Les Sables, while we can see Jean Le Cam and also Conrad Colman making their way towards the channel into the marina. In 23rd place, we can see Kojiro has rounded the Azores exclusion zone and is heading towards Cape Finisterre. And rounding right now, we've got Kojiro Shiraishi, who we'll hear from shortly, followed by Violet d'Orange, Louis Duc and Sébastien Marseille. In 28th place, Antoine Cornic has passed the latitude of the Cape Verde Islands. And then in 29th, we have Oliver here on Tutgut, and then Jingkun, who we'll hear from shortly. And then back to the southern hemisphere. On starboard tack now we have Manuel Cousin 31st, Fabrice Amadeu 32nd, and then in 33rd Dennis van Weenberg. On the leaderboard, we're going to take a recap of our finishers so far. Charlie Dalin won on the 14th of January in that new record time. Johan Richomme finished on the 15th, just behind him. And then Seb Simon on the 17th completed the podium. And then on the 24th of January, we had three finishers, Jeremy Bayou, Paul Milhat, Nico Lundven, 4th, 5th and 6th respectively. Thomas Rouillon finished a day later in 7th on the 25th. Together with Justine Metreau in 8th place, and then Sam Goodchild as well, also on the 25th in 9th. Then Benjamin Dutroux was a day later in 10th. And then Clarice Kramer finished on the 27th of January, followed by Boris Herman on the 29th of January, and then Sam Davis in 13th on the 30th of January. And then into February, we had Roman Atanasio on the 2nd of February. And then yesterday we had Damien Seguin, Benjamin Fauré, Tonki Leturke, Alan Rura, Isabelle Joschke, who finished in 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th and 19th respectively. Isabelle actually finished early hours French time, but very late on UTC. And then this morning we had Jean Le Cam finishing, and also Conrad Colman and Giancarlo Pedote, who will be probably finished by the time you watch this.
2月3日です。今日はね、もう全天曇りで雨ということで気がめいります。もう一つ気がめいる原因があって、ルーティングですね。フィニッシュまであと1週間なんですがね、ルーティングすればするほどどんどん伸びてきます。今最新のルーティングはアイルランドの方まで行ってフランスに南下してくるとんでもないルーティングですね。はい、でもうどんどん入港の日が一日一日伸びてくる感じですね。いい情報はないです。全天曇り、アップウィンド、ドッタン雨、そしてルーティングが悪いというね、もう今日は踏んだり蹴ったりの、いいとこなしの、一日ですね。はい、ずっとこんな曇りでね、気のめいる一日でございます。もうそれでも元気よくチャオ。
暴风雨马上就要来了，我们现在再过2个小时以后就要快迟到了，离赤道还有20海里，但是我们的风已经率先的回到了北半球模式了。这个就是南北半球气候系统的锋面交界带了，要特别的小心，这里边很危险，会夹杂着暴风和强降雨。暴风雨就在身后了，快跑哇！这云团里边蕴藏了巨大的能量和强降雨，我们要格外的小心。这是南北半球2个气候系统交合在一起的锋面，所以从这里我们回到北半球了。最后就是南半球，这里就是赤道分界线，前边就是北半球了。这意味着我们已经跨进家门口了，哈哈，我们回来喽！ Hey.
During this Vendée Globe, we've all been captivated with Conrad Colman's updates from his IMOCA yacht, and it would only be fitting today to finish off with what he recorded yesterday on board.
I mean, technically we are moving. Just really not very fast at all. So given that I have time, I wanted to show you something. So this is the engine, which of course I haven't used, but I wanted to show you that I haven't used it. And that's because, to make sure that nobody cheats, the race has a system of seals. So you can see this plastic seal with a number code on it. That goes through the transmission, and then with this metal wire here is connected to the boat. So if at any point during the course of the race the propeller turned, then that would rip the wire, that would rip the seal, and that would show that the engine had been used to make the boat go forwards. Every competitor in the Vendée Globe is required, just after the start, to send a photo of that system in place. The seal, immobilizing the propeller shaft, and then that has been actually controlled several times during the course of the race to make sure that we haven't used it. Now, in addition, I'm the only one in the race to have added an extra one here, and so this is on the belt at the front of the engine that runs the water pump, and you can see I've got it around the belt and then around tube. And if the engine had run at any point during the course of the race, this would have been destroyed. And so that's my proof that I haven't used this engine at all for any reason, going forwards, backwards, sideways, charging the batteries or whatever. No engine for this entire time. And it's thanks to the seal that I can show that. So with 76 miles remaining, I think we can say I've gone around the world without burning any fossil fuels, and thanks to these Solbian solar panels and the Watt&C hydro generator. The mix of technology might be different from how I did it in 2016, but the end result is the same. I have now gone twice around the world in the Vendée Globe without burning any fossil fuels. And I'd like to encourage both the class IMOCA and the race to continue to adopt principles of trying to make this class and this event as sustainable as possible. There are steps that are being made in the way that the boats are being constructed, the sails that we get to use. I'm also the only sailor to have the complete set of green certified sails from One Sails, and so steps are being made, but I think that the next edition of the race is in 2028. Shortly thereafterwards, both in the United States and in Europe, internal combustion engines for cars are going to be outlawed. And so I think it's crazy that for a super high-tech class like this to be rolling into the next event with 100-year-old tractor diesel technology is just craziness. So I feel like I've done my part to show what's possible. Now I'd like to see that adopted more widely, both by the class and by the event. So there I am, already talking about 2028, 4 years time, and indeed that is my goal. My goal is to come back with a more competitive boat so that I can spend all of this energy at the front of the fleet rather than the back of the fleet. And certainly I've got lots of interesting, I hope, intermediary goals, races between now and 2028. And I'd just like to ask that you follow along for the ride, because when I got inspired to come and do the Vendée Globe in 2004, there was not this degree of media, certainly not in English, and it was a bit of a hard slog to come here, learn French, learn sailing, learn solar sailing, become fully integrated into the French scene. And the proof of it is that I'm the only Kiwi to have ever done that. The Vendée Globe, the Route du Rhum, the Solitaire de Figaro, all of these other events. And so what I'd like to do now is open the door behind me. I'm in the process of putting together a racing team that will hopefully take on more diverse events, hopefully with the integration of the ocean race circuits, both the Transat and the Tour of Europe. And I would like to hold this out as an invitation to you to come along, to join the story. If you're a sailor or an enthusiast or a sailmaker or whatever, please get in touch when we can have a discussion about how to get you integrated into the team. And otherwise, if you're just a fan, well, there's no just about it. That's fantastic. It is your enthusiasm that makes it possible for us to do what we do. Quite literally, this is a sponsored event, and it's thanks to you following along that we're able to find those sponsors. Yeah, speaking of finding sponsors, if you know anybody or if you work for an interesting company that you think might match both with ocean racing or indeed with my priorities, please don't hesitate to reach out on LinkedIn particularly as well. And launching a new cycle, a new campaign means new sponsors as well, and so I am forever in the search of people that would be interested in joining the adventure. So here we go, 80 something days around the world. 70 something miles ahead of me. Thank you very, very much for following along. It has been really, really cool to have your messages left in the comments below. It really gave me a boost when times were hard, when my feet were cold, when I was missing home. So I think that we can safely say that we did this together, and I look forward to next time.
Thank you for watching today. We're going to continue bringing you the latest news from the Vendée Globe and much more from the world of sailing. So please do subscribe to our channel using the button down here, and take a look at sailworld.com and yachtsandyachting.com for all the latest news from the world of sailing.